Aloha champions and welcome back. So for this week, because it's the week of parent-teacher conferences and because I'm at home, not in my classroom, we only have one science video for this week for Wednesday, November 18th. Thursday and Friday are technically half days, so I'm not putting forth any assignments after 1 o'clock on Thursday or Friday. So we'll get all of our work done beforehand. For today, we're diving into Unit 3.7, Plant Responses. In our last video last week, we talked about how animals and how humans sense the world around us, how we see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. Well, all throughout this unit on biology, we've been comparing how animals and plants, all living things, have a lot of things in common. So even though plants don't have ears and eyes like you and I do, plants have certain ways in which they sense their environment around them. So without further ado, we are going to get into Chapter 7, Plant Responses. And the first thing my eyes are drawn to anytime I'm reading informational text is I look to the sides for any vocabulary terms or big questions. Our big question for today's video is, how do plants sense and respond to their environments? Okay, to start us off, we have a vocabulary word called tropism, a plant's growth or movement in response to a stimulus. Okay, then we'll learn more about tropism and different plant responses on how they detect the world around them. So remember, after we're done watching this video, we're answering 5 to 10 questions in Google Classroom. So make sure you're paying attention throughout to pick up different ideas that might be questions as you have to answer. Okay, Chapter 7, Plant Responses. If you grow a plant by a window, it may lean toward the light. This is one example of how plants respond to a stimulus. The stimulus is sunlight, and the response is that the plant bends. Like animals, plants can sense what is happening in their environment. However, plants do not have the same structures as animals. Plants do have responses that help them get energy and water and nutrients, and we call these types of responses tropisms. The word comes from ancient Greek and means a turning. So while animals and humans, we have senses to help us grow and keep us safe, plants have tropisms. Tropisms are special things that they do to help them get water, sunlight, oxygen, and nutrients to help them grow. A well-known plant tropism is the response to light. How do plants move so that they can face toward the light? Well, cell enlargement on one side of a stem causes the plant to lean. As the plant leans toward light, its leaves can absorb more of the light. So the cells are changing within the plant to help it bend and go. Moving on, plants respond to gravity. Not only do they respond to the sunlight, but they respond to gravity, that constant force that pulls us closer to the earth. Plants also respond to gravity. A plant's parts respond to Earth's gravity. Some parts grow down toward the pull of gravity, and others grow up or away from the pull. The growth of a plant part away from or toward the pull of gravity is another kind of tropism. Suppose you were to plant a seed sideways. In which direction do you think the roots and shoots would grow? Well, if you think straight out, well, you're right at first. But soon the root will start to grow downward. The shoot would turn upward. Structures in each plant cell signal them to grow in those certain directions. A plant's responses to light and gravity are tropisms that help it to meet its needs. A plant's roots grow down, away from the light and toward the pull of gravity. The roots grow this way so that the plant can reach the water and nutrients that it needs. So here's a seed, and we can see that it starts growing out sideways, but pretty soon after, the roots want to go down further, and the stem, which will have the leaves and flower, want to grow up into the sunlight so that it can get its nutrients. Beyond responding to light and gravity, plants also respond to temperature. In fall, leaves change color. If you live anywhere other than Phoenix, you get to experience this. This change in the tree's response to shorter days and lower temperatures. In fall, the weather becomes cooler and there is less daylight. Leaves do not make as much food, so the chemical that gives leaves their green color begins to break down. Other chemicals produce red, yellow, and orange colors in the leaves. Later in the fall, the trees drop their leaves. They store the energy, and the trees also save their water. Plants also respond to high temperatures. A plant stem, leaves, and flowers may droop or wilt. Wilting happens when a plant loses more water in the form of water vapor. Then its roots take in. In hot, dry weather, the soil may have too little water to meet the plant's needs. These are not examples of tropisms. Why? Well, the plant is not growing or turning in its direction of growth. Okay, so tropisms require that it turns, where it moves to help either catch the sunlight or it helps it to grow. Tropisms require movement, but water moisture or getting rid of leaves, that's not turning. It's not physically moving in one way or another. It's just a natural response to temperature. And lastly, plants can respond to touch, such as the Venus flytrap, which is a carnivorous plant. It gets some of its nutrients from insects. But how can a plant catch insects? Because it doesn't have eyes or ears, so it can't really be a predator. Well, instead, the Venus flytrap responds to an insect's body weight using a sense of touch. So it will open up, a fly will fly in, and when it feels the weight, it will start closing in on itself to start its digestive system. Instead, the Venus flytrap responds to an insect's body weight using a sense of touch. Venus flytraps have tiny hairs that act as sensors. When a hair is touched twice in a very short amount of time, the plant's leaves snap shut. The insect becomes trapped inside the leaves. Here, the plant digests the insect. Then the leaves can absorb the nutrients that the plant needs. Plants will also respond to contact with objects. For example, when a plant's roots encounter a rock deep down in the soil, they will grow around it. Some plants, such as pea plants, grow vines or tendrils. The vines support the plants as they grow. The vines wrap around nearby objects, allowing the plant to grow taller than it could otherwise. These are both examples of tropisms. So, when they're growing, if they have to move their roots around rocks or up vines, then they're going to move, okay? So tropisms require that the plant is moving in some way, whether it's to face the light, to have the roots go down and the stem go up, or for them to move around other objects, okay? So think about, how do plants respond to touch, to temperature, to light, and to gravity? And answer the 5 to 10 questions in our Google Classroom based off of this video. Thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed. Stay awesome, and I will talk to you real soon.